Maya had always been the kind of person who needed her space. At 32, she worked from home as a freelance designer, and her small apartment was her perfect little world. Everything had its place, everything was just the way she liked it. Most importantly, her bedroom was her sanctuary, especially that queen-size bed she'd saved up for months to buy. It was her comfort zone, her place to unwind after long days staring at computer screens. Life hadn't always been this peaceful for Maya. A few years back, her world had turned upside down when her marriage ended. The process was messy, emotional, and left her feeling like she needed to rebuild everything from scratch. Moving into this apartment alone was scary at first, but slowly, she began to love the quiet. No more arguments, no more walking on eggshells, no more sharing space with someone who made her feel small. Just her work, and blessed silence. Her younger sister Priya had different ideas about what Maya needed every time they talked. Priya would bring up the same thing. Maya needed a companion. Maybe a cat, or better yet, a dog. You're too isolated, Priya would say. It's not healthy to be alone all the time. Maya would just laugh it off. She had everything she needed. Her bed was perfectly made every morning. She could eat ice cream straight from the container without judgment, and she could work late into the night without disturbing anyone. But Priya was persistent. One Saturday morning, she showed up at Maya's door with coffee and pastries. "Come on," she said. "Just come with me to look at something. It'll take an hour, tops." Maya should have known better. Priya had that look in her eyes, the same one she'd had as a kid when she was planning something. They drove across town to the animal shelter. Maya had never really thought about these places before. The parking lot was busy, filled with families and couples going in and out. Some people looked excited. Others seemed emotional. "We're just looking," Priya promised as they walked through. The front doors, no pressure. The shelter was louder than Maya expected. Dogs were barking. Volunteers were chatting with visitors, and there was this constant hum of activity. A friendly staff member named Jennifer gave them a quick tour, explaining how the adoption process worked. Maya nodded politely, but kept her arms crossed. She was definitely not getting a pet today. They walked past dozens of kennels. Some dogs jumped up excitedly when they saw people. Others played with toys or napped. Maya had to admit, some of them were pretty cute, but she kept reminding herself that she was perfectly happy living alone. Then they reached the last row of kennels, the special needs section where dogs with behavioral issues or medical problems lived. In the corner kennel sat a medium-sized dog with beautiful brown and white markings. She looked like maybe a mix of several breeds, definitely some lab, possibly some border collie. But what caught Maya's attention wasn't her appearance. It was how she sat. The dog was pressed against the back wall of her kennel, watching everyone pass by but keeping as much distance as possible. "That's Bella," Jennifer explained. "She's been here for 8 months. Beautiful dog, about 3 years old, but she's challenging. She's been returned twice by families who adopted her. She has severe trust issues and doesn't warm up to people easily. We're hoping to find someone special who has the patience to work with her." Maya found herself stopping in front of the kennel. Bella looked at her with these big, cautious eyes. There was something in that look, not fear exactly, but wariness, like she'd been disappointed before and was protecting herself from getting hurt again. Maya knew that feeling. "Can we see her?" The words came out of Maya's mouth before she could stop them. Priya grinned, but Maya shot her a warning look. "Just to see her. That's all." Jennifer led them to a small meeting room and brought Bella in on a leash. The dog immediately went to the farthest corner and lay down, watching them carefully. Maya sat on the floor, not trying to approach or call to her. She just sat quietly, occasionally talking to Priya and Jennifer in soft tones. After about 20 minutes, Bella crept a little closer, not close enough to touch, but close enough to sniff in Maya's direction. "That's actually really good progress," Jennifer said quietly. "She usually doesn't move from the corner at all. Something about this dog reminded Maya of herself after her marriage ended. Scared, defensive, not trusting anyone to get too close." Maya had spent months in therapy learning to open up again, learning that not everyone would hurt her. Maybe Bella just needed someone who understood what it felt like to need space. 2 hours later, Maya was signing adoption papers. She couldn't believe what she was doing. The rational part of her brain was screaming that this was a mistake. She knew nothing about dogs. She lived alone. She worked from home. How was she supposed to train a dog with trust issues? But something in Bella's eyes kept pulling at her. The shelter staff sent Maya home with supplies, a bed, food, toys, leashes. Everything a dog owner needed. They also gave her a folder full of information about helping anxious dogs adjust to new homes. Take it slow, Jennifer advised. Let her set the pace. Some dogs take weeks or even months to fully settle in. That first evening, Maya set up Bella's new bed in the living room, far from the bedroom. She wanted to establish boundaries right away. Maya's bedroom was off limits. It was her space, her sanctuary, and that wasn't going to change. She put Bella's food and water bowls in the kitchen and scattered a few toys around the living room. Bella spent most of that first day exploring the apartment cautiously, sniffing everything but keeping her distance from Maya. She ate a little food but left most of it untouched. When evening came, Maya showed Bella her new bed, complete with soft blankets and a toy. "This is your spot," Maya said gently. "You'll be comfortable here." Maya went through her usual bedtime routine, shower, pajamas, a few minutes of reading. Before sleep, she could hear Bella moving around the living room, the soft click of her nails on the hardwood floor. It was strange having another living being in her space after so long alone. As Maya settled into her perfectly made bed, pulling the covers up to her chin, she wondered what she'd gotten herself into. Tomorrow would be their first full day together. She had no idea that within just a few weeks, everything about her carefully ordered life was about to change completely. The dog who wouldn't even come near her today would soon refuse to sleep anywhere, but right beside her. But that night, both Maya and Bella fell asleep in their separate spaces. Two cautious souls sharing the same roof but still keeping their protective walls firmly in place. 3 weeks passed, and Maya was starting to wonder if she'd made a huge mistake. Bella had settled into a routine, sure, but it wasn't exactly the heartwarming pet story Maya had secretly hoped for. Every morning, she'd wake up to find Bella, already awake, sitting quietly by the window in the living room, watching the world outside. When Maya would say good morning, Bella would look at her briefly, then turn back to the window. During the day, while Maya worked at her computer, Bella would find different spots around the apartment to rest, sometimes under the dining table, sometimes behind the couch, always somewhere she could see Maya but maintain her distance. It was like living with a polite roommate who never really wanted to interact. Maya tried everything the shelter had suggested. She spoke to Bella in soft, encouraging tones. She offered treats, which Bella would accept by gently taking them from Maya's hand, and then retreating to eat them alone. She bought different toys, thinking maybe Bella would show interest in playing. The toys remained untouched. Maya even tried sitting on the floor near Bella, reading her book aloud, thinking maybe the sound of her voice would help. Bella would listen but never move closer. The most interaction they had was during meal times. Bella would eat her breakfast and dinner, but only after Maya had moved to another room. If Maya stayed in the kitchen, Bella would wait patiently by her food bowl until Maya left. It wasn't aggressive or fearful behavior exactly, just distant. Maya's friends kept asking how the new dog was working out. "She's adjusting," Maya would say, which wasn't exactly a lie. Bella was adjusting, just not to Maya. She was adjusting to the apartment, to the routine, to having shelter and regular meals. But she wasn't adjusting to having a human companion. And Maya was starting to feel pretty lonely despite having another living being in her space. At night, the separation was most obvious. Maya would go through her bedtime routine, and Bella would settle onto her expensive dog bed in the living room. Through the thin walls, Maya could sometimes hear Bella shifting around, occasionally making small sounds, but they might as well have been on different planets. Maya started to understand why Bella had been returned twice before. It wasn't that. She was a bad dog. She was perfectly behaved, never chewed anything, never had accidents in the house, never barked unnecessarily. But she was like a beautiful, well-mannered ghost. Maya began to wonder if she was just not cut out to be a dog owner, or if Bella would ever really trust anyone. Then came that Tuesday night in late October. Maya had been following the weather reports all day. Because a massive storm system was moving through their area, the meteorologists were warning about strong winds, heavy rain, and possible tornado activity. Maya had always been fine with thunderstorms. She actually found the sound of rain on her windows kind of relaxing. She went to bed around 10:30, just as the first drops started hitting her bedroom window. Bella was in her usual spot in the living room, curled up on her bed. Maya could hear the wind picking up outside, and the gentle patter of rain was actually helping her fall asleep. Around midnight, Maya woke up to what sounded like a freight train passing right over her building. The wind was howling. Rain was pelting her windows so hard it sounded like someone throwing handfuls of gravel. Lightning was flashing so frequently that her room kept lighting up like a disco. But it was the thunder that was really intense. Not just loud, but deep and rumbling, the kind that seems to shake your bones. Maya had just started to drift back to sleep when the loudest crack of thunder she'd ever heard exploded right overhead. It was so sudden and so powerful that her windows rattled. Her car alarm went off in the parking lot below, and every dog in the neighborhood started barking or howling. That's when Maya heard something she'd never heard before, Bella whimpering. Not just a small sound, but genuine distress. Maya sat up in bed, listening. She could hear Bella moving around in the living room, her nails clicking rapidly on the hardwood floor, like she was pacing. Another massive thunder crash, and this time, Maya heard something that made her heart break a little. Bella was crying, not barking, not howling like the other dogs outside, but making these small, scared sounds that reminded Maya of a lost child. Maya got out of bed and tiptoed to her bedroom door, opening it just a crack. The living room was dark except for the frequent lightning flashes, but in those brief moments of light, she could see Bella pacing back and forth, her tail tucked low, her head down. Every time the thunder crashed, Bella would freeze, then resume her anxious pacing. "Bella?" Maya called softly. The pacing stopped immediately. In the next lightning flash, Maya could see Bella looking toward the bedroom, but still keeping her distance. Maya stood there for a moment, unsure what to do. Every piece of advice she'd read about establishing boundaries with pets said to be consistent, to not give in to anxiety behaviors, to maintain the rules she'd established. But seeing Bella so genuinely frightened made all those rules seem stupid. Another round of thunder, longer and louder than before, and Bella let out a sound that was almost like a sob. That did it. Maya opened her bedroom door all the way and stepped out. "Hey, it's okay," she said, her voice as calm as she could make it. "It's just noise. It can't hurt you." She walked slowly toward the living room, not directly toward Bella, but at an angle, the way the shelter had taught her to approach anxious dogs. Bella watched her but didn't move away. When Maya reached the couch, she sat down on the edge, keeping her body language relaxed. "Scary storm, huh?" Maya said conversationally, as if she and Bella had these chats all the time. "I used to be afraid of thunderstorms when I was little. My mom would make hot chocolate and we'd watch the lightning from the kitchen window. As if on cue, another massive boom shook the building. This time, instead of pacing, Bella took 3 quick steps toward Maya and stopped, trembling. She was still several feet away, but it was the closest she'd voluntarily come since that first day at the shelter. Maya's heart started beating faster, but she forced herself to stay calm. "That was a big one," she acknowledged, "but we're safe. And here, this is a good, strong building." The storm continued for another hour, and slowly, incredibly, Bella crept closer. First she sat down about 3 feet from the couch. Then, during a particularly intense series of lightning and thunder, she scooted closer until she was right next to Maya's legs. Still not touching, but close enough that Maya could feel the warmth of her body. Maya didn't dare move or speak, afraid of breaking whatever spell was happening. But when the thunder crashed again and Bella pressed herself against Maya's legs, Maya gently, very gently, placed her hand on Bella's head. Bella didn't pull away. Instead, she leaned into the touch just slightly, still trembling but no longer alone with her fear. They stayed like that until the storm passed and the first hints of dawn started creeping through the windows. When the thunder finally moved on and the rain became gentle again, Maya realized they'd crossed some invisible bridge. Bella was still scared, still cautious, but for the first time since coming home, she'd chosen Maya's comfort over her own fear. That morning, everything felt different between them, like they'd shared a secret that only they understood. The morning after the thunderstorm changed everything, but Maya didn't realize it right away. She woke up in her bed, alone as usual, but something felt different. When she walked to the kitchen to make coffee, Bella didn't retreat to her hiding spot under the dining table. Instead, she followed Maya at a distance, keeping about 6 feet between them, but actually following her around the apartment. It was small, but it was progress. Maya tried not to make a big deal about it, but inside, she felt hopeful for the first time since bringing Bella home. During breakfast, Bella ate her food while Maya sat at the kitchen counter with her coffee, something that hadn't happened before. They weren't exactly sharing a meal, but they were sharing the same space at the same time. Maya went back to her work routine, settling at her desk with her computer and design projects. Usually, Bella would find a spot somewhere else in the apartment, always with a clear view of Maya but maintaining maximum distance. This morning, though, Bella chose a spot on the living room rug that was only about 10 feet from Maya's desk. Still far, but closer than before, around lunchtime. Maya was concentrating on a particularly frustrating logo design when she heard something unusual. Bella was making a soft sound, almost like a sigh, but more purposeful. Maya looked over to find Bella sitting up, looking directly at her. When their eyes met, Bella's tail gave the tiniest wag. Barely a movement, but definitely a wag. "What is it, girl?" Maya asked softly. Bella stood up, walked to the middle of the room, and sat down again, still looking at Maya. It was the first time Bella had ever tried to communicate something specific. Maya got up from her desk and sat on the floor. Not too close to Bella, but closer than they'd ever been by choice. "You want some company?" she asked. Bella didn't move away. Instead, she lay down, still watching Maya, but no longer looking tense or ready to flee. They stayed like that for maybe 20 minutes, Maya sitting cross-legged on the floor, Bella lying nearby. Maya talked quietly about her work, about the difficult client she was dealing with, about how nice it was to have someone to talk to even if they couldn't talk back. Bella listened, occasionally tilting her head when Maya's voice changed tone. That evening, something even more remarkable happened. Maya was making dinner when Bella appeared in the kitchen doorway, not hiding around the corner like usual, but actually standing in the doorway, watching Maya cook. When Maya dropped a piece of carrot on the floor, Bella took a few steps forward, sniffed it, and gently picked it up. "Thank you," Maya said, laughing a little. "Good helper." For the first time since the shelter, Bella's tail wagged properly, not just a tiny movement, but an actual happy dog wag. Maya felt like she'd won the lottery. The real breakthrough came 3 days later, on Friday night. Maya had been working late on a project and was exhausted. She went through her usual bedtime routine, shower, pajamas, brushing her teeth, while Bella settled onto her bed in the living room. Maya called out her usual goodnight. Bella and closed her bedroom door. Around 2 in the morning, Maya woke up to a sound she couldn't identify. It was soft but persistent, like someone gently scratching on wood. Half asleep, she ignored it, but it continued. Finally, Maya got up and opened her bedroom door to investigate. Bella was sitting right outside her bedroom door, looking up at Maya with those expressive brown eyes. The sound Maya had heard was Bella's nails gently tapping against the hardwood floor, not destructive scratching, just asking, "What's wrong, sweetie?" Maya whispered, immediately worried that Bella was sick or needed to go outside urgently. But Bella didn't head toward the front door. Instead, she took the steps toward Maya's bed and stopped, looking back at Maya as if asking permission. Maya's first instinct was to redirect Bella back to her own bed. The bedroom was supposed to be off-limits, and maintaining boundaries was important for training. But something in Bella's expression stopped her. This wasn't anxiety or fear like during the thunderstorm. This was hope, maybe. Like Bella was asking if they could be closer. "You want to sleep in here?" Maya asked. Quietly, Bella's tail gave a small wag. Maya looked at her perfectly made bed, thought about dog hair on her clean sheets, thought about all the advice about maintaining boundaries. Then she looked at Bella's hopeful face and made a decision that would change both their lives. "Okay," Maya said, patting the foot of her bed. "Just this once." Bella approached slowly. As if she couldn't quite believe this was happening, she jumped up onto the bed carefully, settling at the very foot, curled into the smallest possible ball. Maya got back under her covers, and for the first time since adopting Bella, they fell asleep in the same room. Maya woke up the next morning to find Bella in exactly the same position, still curled in a tiny ball at the foot of the bed. But when Maya stirred, Bella lifted her head, and for the first time ever, her tail started wagging while she was still lying down, like she was happy to see Maya wake up. "Good morning to you too," Maya said, and she meant it. She'd slept better than she had in weeks. There was something comforting about hearing another living being's quiet breathing, about not being completely alone in the dark. That evening, when bedtime arrived, Bella appeared in the bedroom doorway again. Maya patted the bed, and Bella hopped up, this time settling a little closer to Maya's legs. The second night became a third, then a fourth dot by the end of the week. Maya realized she was looking forward to bedtime in a way she hadn't before. Bella had developed a little routine. She would circle 3 times at the foot of the bed before settling down, always positioning herself so that some part of her body was touching Maya's legs. Through the blankets, it was like she needed that physical connection to feel secure. Maya's sleep improved dramatically. She'd always been a light sleeper, waking up at every small sound, but with Bella there, she felt more secure. When Maya had restless dreams or woke up in the middle of the night feeling anxious, she could reach down and feel Bella's warm, solid presence. Sometimes Bella seemed to sense when Maya was having a bad dream, and would gently nuzzle her hand or shift position to press closer. During the day, their relationship continued to evolve. Bella started greeting Maya in the mornings with tail wags instead of cautious observation. She began following Maya around the apartment more closely, not underfoot, but nearby. When Maya worked at her desk, Bella would lie on the rug where she could see her. When Maya cooked dinner, Bella would sit in the kitchen doorway, hoping for dropped vegetables. Maya started talking to Bella throughout the day, sharing her thoughts about work, about the weather, about random things she noticed. Bella was an excellent listener, tilting her head thoughtfully and occasionally offering a soft woof of response. The transformation wasn't just in Bella. Maya realized she was happier too. Coming home at the end of errands felt different when she knew Bella was waiting for her. Her apartment felt more like a home and less like just a place to sleep. She found herself smiling more, laughing at Bella's quirky behaviors, looking forward to their quiet evenings together. 3 weeks after that first night in the bedroom, Maya couldn't imagine going back to sleeping alone. When her sister Priya called to check on how things were going, Maya found herself gushing about Bella's progress. "She sleeps with me now," Maya admitted. "I know I said I'd never let a pet in my bedroom, but she just looks so hopeful, and honestly, I sleep better with her there." Priya laughed. "Sounds like you're both getting exactly what you needed." Maya looked over at Bella, who was napping in a patch of afternoon sunlight, and realized her sister was absolutely right. She thought she was rescuing Bella, but maybe they'd rescued each other. 6 months had passed since that stormy night when everything changed between Maya and Bella. Their routine had become second nature. Mornings started with Bella's gentle tail wags. Days were spent with Bella nearby while Maya worked, and evenings ended with their cozy bedtime ritual. Maya couldn't imagine her life any other way. Then her mother called with news that would test their bond in ways Maya never expected. "I'm coming to visit for a week," her mother announced cheerfully over the phone. "I miss you, and I want to meet this dog you keep talking about. I'll sleep on the couch. Don't worry about making special arrangements." Maya's heart sank a little. She loved her mother dearly, but Rita was very particular about cleanliness and order. She'd raised Maya and Priya with strict rules about pets, no animals on furniture, definitely no animals in bedrooms, and certainly no animals sleeping in beds with humans. Maya had never told her mother about the sleeping arrangements with Bella. "Mom, about Bella," Maya started carefully. She sleeps in my room now. On the bed. I know you always said pets shouldn't be in bedrooms, but she's really anxious when she's alone." "And Maya," her mother interrupted, "you know how I feel about animals on furniture. It's unsanitary. We'll figure something out when I get there." Maya spent the next week dreading her mother's visit and trying to prepare Bella for the change. She bought a beautiful new dog bed and placed it in the living room, hoping maybe Bella would adjust to sleeping there temporarily. But every time Maya tried to encourage Bella to lie on the new bed, Bella would look confused and eventually make her way back to Maya's bedroom. The night before her mother's arrival, Maya tried to explain the situation to Bella as they went through their bedtime routine. "Mom's coming tomorrow, and she's going to need to sleep in our room," Maya said, feeling ridiculous for having a serious conversation with a dog. "You might need to sleep in the living room for a few nights." Bella tilted her head, listening intently as always, but Maya could tell she had no idea what was coming. Rita arrived on a Sunday afternoon with 2 large suitcases and strong opinions about everything. She hugged Maya warmly, then looked around the apartment with the critical eye of a mother who taught her daughter better. "It's clean," she said approvingly, then spotted Bella watching cautiously from across the room. "And there's the famous Bella. She's prettier than I expected." Bella, sensing a new person in her territory, had reverted to some of her old cautious behaviors. She kept her distance, observing Rita with careful eyes. When Rita tried to approach her with an outstretched hand, Bella politely but firmly moved away. "She's not very friendly, is she?" Rita commented. "She's just shy with new people," Maya defended. "It takes her time to warm up." That evening, Maya set up the couch with fresh sheets and pillows for herself, planning to let her mother have the bedroom. But Rita looked at the arrangement and shook her head. "Don't be silly, I'm the guest. I'll take the couch, you sleep in your own bed." Maya wanted to explain about Bella's anxiety, about how they'd never spent a night apart since that first thunderstorm. But her mother was already unpacking her things in the living room. "Where will Bella sleep?" Maya asked. "On her bed, I assume," Rita said, pointing to the expensive new dog bed Maya had bought. "Where else would she sleep?" That first night was a disaster. Maya lay in her bed, listening to Bella pace the living room. Every few minutes, she could hear Bella's nails on the hardwood floor, then silence, then more pacing. Around midnight, the whimpering started, soft, heartbroken sounds that made Maya want to cry. Rita, trying to sleep on the couch, was not amused. "Maya," she called out, "can you do something about that noise? I need my sleep." Maya got up and found Bella sitting by the bedroom door, looking up at her with confused, pleading eyes. "I know, sweetie," Maya whispered. "I'm sorry, you have to sleep out here tonight." She tried everything, sitting with Bella for a while, giving her treats, even lying on the floor next to the dog bed. Nothing worked. Bella would settle for a few minutes, then get up and pace again. By 3 in the morning, all 3 of them were exhausted and frustrated. The second night wasn't much better. Bella barely ate her dinner and spent the evening looking depressed, following Maya around with sad eyes. When bedtime came, she positioned herself by the bedroom door and refused to move to her bed. Maya tried to carry her to the living room, but Bella just returned to the bedroom door as soon as Maya let her go. "This is ridiculous," Rita said on the third morning, looking tired and irritated. "That dog is manipulating you. In my day, animals knew their place." Maya felt caught between her mother's disapproval and Bella's obvious distress. She'd worked so hard to build trust with Bella, and now it felt like they were going backward. Bella had stopped eating properly, barely interacted with Maya during the day, and spent most of her time staring out the window with a dejected expression. On Wednesday, Maya had to travel to a client meeting across town, something she'd scheduled weeks ago, and couldn't cancel. She'd arranged for her neighbor Jackson to check on Bella and her mother, but she felt anxious about leaving them together. The meeting ran longer than expected, and by the time Maya got home that evening, she found her mother sitting stiffly on the couch, looking frazzled. Bella was nowhere to be seen. "Where's Bella?" Maya asked immediately. "Hiding under your bed," Rita said. "She's been there since this morning. She won't come out, won't eat, won't respond to anything. Jackson came by around lunch and couldn't get her to move either." Maya, "I think something's really wrong with her." Maya rushed to her bedroom and got down on her hands and knees to look under the bed. There was Bella, pressed against the back wall, eyes wide and fearful like the day Maya had first met her at the shelter. "Hey, baby girl," Maya said softly. "I'm home. Everything's okay." It took 20 minutes of gentle coaxing before Bella would even come out from under the bed. When she finally did, she pressed herself against Maya's side and wouldn't leave her side for the rest of the evening. That night, Maya made a decision. "Mom," she said carefully, "I think Bella needs to sleep in the bedroom tonight, just for tonight. She's really stressed." Rita started to protest, but something in Maya's expression stopped her. "She's not just a pet to you, is she?" Rita asked quietly. Maya shook her head. "She's my companion, my family. I know you don't understand it, but she saved me from being lonely, and I saved her from being scared. We take care of each other." Rita looked at Maya for a long moment, then at Bella, who was pressed close to Maya's legs. "I suppose I could try sleeping with earplugs," she said finally. That night, Bella slept curled against Maya's legs for the first time in 4 days, and everyone in the apartment got a good night's sleep. The next morning, Maya woke up to find her mother sitting in the kitchen with a cup of coffee, watching Bella eat her breakfast with normal appetite for the first time since Rita's arrival. "She really does love you," Rita said when Maya joined her. "I've never seen an animal so devoted to one person." Maya realized then that the week hadn't just been about Bella adjusting to having Rita there. It had been about Maya learning to advocate for the relationship she built with Bella, even when it meant standing up to someone she respected. The last 2 days of Rita's visit went much smoother. Bella gradually warmed up to Rita, even accepting treats from her hand. And Rita began to understand that Maya and Bella weren't just owner and pet, they were partners who'd found exactly what they needed in each other. When Rita left on Sunday, she hugged Maya goodbye and said, "Take good care of each other." Maya knew she finally understood. A year and a half after bringing Bella home, Maya's life looked completely different from the carefully controlled, solitary existence she'd built after her divorce. The biggest change was literally the biggest. She moved to a larger apartment across town, and the first thing she'd done was buy a king-size bed for Bella. She told the furniture salesman, who looked confused since she'd mentioned it was just her and her dog, "She needs more room to stretch out." Maya had realized that her old queen bed was getting crowded. Bella had gradually expanded from her tiny ball at the foot of the bed to sprawling across a good portion of the mattress. Some mornings, Maya would wake up clinging to the edge while Bella slept peacefully in the center, legs stretched in all 4 directions. Instead of being annoyed, Maya found it endearing. Bella finally felt secure enough to take up space. The new apartment was perfect for both of them. It had big windows that Bella loved to look out of, hardwood floors that were easy to clean when she tracked in mud from their walks, and most importantly, a bedroom large enough for their oversized bed plus Bella's collection of toys that somehow always ended up in the bedroom. Maya's friends had mixed reactions to her lifestyle changes. Her coworker Diana thought it was sweet but excessive. "You bought a bigger bed for your dog," she'd asked, laughing. Maya, you know she'd probably be just as happy with a regular dog bed, right? But Maya's sister Priya understood perfectly. You should see your face when you talk about her." Priya had said during one of their weekly coffee dates. "You're happy. In a way you haven't been in years. If a bigger bed makes both of you comfortable, then it's worth it." The truth was, Maya couldn't imagine sleeping without Bella anymore. She'd gotten so used to the comforting weight against her legs, the soft sound of Bella's breathing, the security of knowing she wasn't alone in the dark. The few times she'd had to travel for work and leave Bella with Jackson, Maya had lain awake in hotel beds feeling like something essential was missing. Bella, for her part, had claimed her spot on the left side of the bed and defended it with polite but firm determination. She still did her 3 circles before settling down. Still needed that physical contact with Maya to feel secure. But now she did it all with the confidence of a dog who knew she belonged. Their bedtime routine had evolved into something almost ceremonial. Bella would follow Maya through her evening activities, watching while Maya brushed her teeth, sitting patiently while Maya changed into pajamas, then leading the way to the bedroom like a furry escort. She'd hop onto the bed and wait for Maya to get settled before doing her circles. In finding the perfect position, Maya had started reading aloud before going to sleep, partly because she enjoyed it and partly because Bella seemed to like the sound of her voice. Bella would rest her head on Maya's leg and listen attentively, occasionally lifting her head when Maya changed her tone or laughed at something funny. The sleeping arrangement had become non-negotiable for both of them, which made Maya's dating life interesting. She'd started dating again about 6 months earlier, something she hadn't been sure she was ready for. But feeling secure and happy with Bella had given her the confidence to open up to people again. The first few dates had been casual coffee, meetings or lunch dates, nothing that required explaining her living situation. But when things started getting more serious with David, a graphic designer she'd met through work, Maya knew she'd have to address the elephant in the room, or rather, the dog in the bed. David was kind, funny, and seemed genuinely interested in Maya's life, including Bella. He'd met Bella several times during evening dates at Maya's apartment, and Bella had given him her cautious approval. She didn't hide when he was around, and had even accepted treats from his hand. But the first time David stayed overnight, Maya felt nervous about how the sleeping arrangements would work. She'd tried to prepare him earlier in the evening. "Just so you know," she'd said casually while they were cooking dinner together, "Bella sleeps in the bed on my side, mostly, but she takes up a fair amount of space." David had laughed. "I figured as much. She seems pretty attached to you." But Maya could tell he wasn't quite prepared for the reality of sharing a bed with a dog who considered it her territory. When they got ready for bed, Bella followed her usual routine, jumping onto the bed and settling into her spot without any regard for the fact that there was now an extra human in the mix. David climbed into bed carefully, trying not to disturb Bella, but she immediately lifted her head and gave him a long, measured look. Not aggressive, but definitely communicating something along the lines of "This is new, and I'm not sure how I feel about it." "Hi, Bella," David said softly. "Is it okay if I share your bed tonight?" To Maya's surprise and delight, Bella's tail gave a small wag. She settled back down, still taking up her usual amount of space. But she didn't seem stressed about David's presence. Maya lay awake for a while that first night, hyper-aware of both David and Bella, wondering if this arrangement was too weird. Too much to ask of someone she was just getting to know. But when she woke up in the morning, she found David awake too, smiling at something. Bella had shifted during the night and was now sleeping with her back pressed against David's leg, apparently having decided he was acceptable. "I think she likes me," David whispered. "She's a good judge of character," Maya whispered back. That had been 4 months ago. Now David was a regular part of their lives, and the 3 of them had worked out a system. Bella still claimed her side of the bed, but she'd learned to share the space more gracefully. David had learned to sleep through Bella's occasional midnight position changes, and had even started bringing her special treats when he came over. Maya's mother had visited again 2 months earlier, and this time the dynamic was completely different. Rita had seen how happy Maya was, how relaxed and confident Bella had become, and how well they worked as a team. When bedtime came, Rita had simply said, "I assume Bella will be sleeping with you," and set herself up comfortably on the couch without any complaints. Maya's life had structure and routine, but it was the kind that came from love and companionship rather than loneliness and control. Her days revolved around Bella's needs: morning walks, regular meals, evening playtime, but it didn't feel restrictive. It felt purposeful. Bella had taught Maya that sharing space didn't mean losing independence, that letting someone close didn't mean being vulnerable to hurt, and that sometimes the most important relationships start with simply making room for another being in your life. When people asked Maya about Bella, she always said the same thing: "I went to the shelter, thinking I might save a dog, but she saved me instead." Bella had shown her that beds were meant for sharing, that home was wherever they were together, and that sometimes the best way to heal from being hurt is to open your heart to someone who's been hurt to now, 3 years after that first nervous night when Bella had cowered in the corner of the living room. Maya couldn't imagine her life any other way. Every morning started with Bella's happy greeting. Every evening ended with their cozy bedtime routine. And every night they fell asleep together, two souls who found exactly what they needed in each other. Bella had been right from the beginning. Human beds were definitely meant for sharing. And Maya was grateful every single day that Bella had been patient enough to teach her that lesson. Their bond had transformed them both, proving that sometimes the most profound love comes on four legs and asks for nothing more than a place beside you in the dark.